Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hookah With It. Today we're here to do a little book haul. Let's get into it. So Book Outlet was having a spring sale. I think it was was it 15% off? I can't remember anymore. And this happened just at the beginning of everything going a little bit haywire, shall we say, slightly stressful, shall we say, and I did some stress buying. I had done two videos, one where I went through my entire Amazon wish list, which I have since added to because I'm me and want all of the books. So one where I went through my Amazon wish list and then you guys chose two books for me to buy. So I bought the two and I hauled the two. I will link both of those videos below in the description box below. But I decided to pop on over to Book Outlet to see if any of the books on my wish list were also there. I found two. So I started my Book Outlet haul with those. And then, as you know, on Book Outlet you can kind of go crazy. So I want to share with you what all of the books I got. I have 8 books. The first I'm going to just mention really quickly. It's for Norah. I couldn't help myself. It's called Never Feed a Queen, a Jelly Bean. And she's got these felt teeth. And there's all sorts of reasons why you shouldn't feed royalty certain things. And I just thought that was too cute to pass up. And so I bought that for Norah. Shall we start with the thriller? I think so. This was recommended to me, or to all of us really, by Simon of Savidge Reads. He said Little Face by Sophie Hannah is a great one. And I've never read a Sophie Hannah before, and she has a huge backlist, so I'm hoping that I'll like this. And then maybe I'll have tons to read from this. So this is about a woman who leaves her infant daughter behind. She goes out for some reason, and she leaves her with her husband, no problem. When she comes back, she discovers that her daughter has been replaced by another infant, and she freaks out. She calls the police. Her husband doesn't believe her. The police don't believe her. And then she and her baby go missing 1 week later. And it's what happened to both of them. It just is kind of, well, any mother's worst nightmare. And it sounded really, really interesting. It literally says it's every mother's nightmare. I don't think I ever read that, but there you go. Next is Nonfiction, and this came highly recommended by Krista from Books and Jams. Sadly, I can't get, there's a sticker on the cover that's driving me nuts, but in any case, this is The Sun Does Shine. How I Found Life and Freedom on Death Row by Anthony Ray Hinton. So he was on death row for many years. This is about a man who was accused and convicted of double murder. 2 counts of capital murder in Alabama in 1985. He was entirely, completely innocent, but he spent 27 years on death row. He was a poor black man in the South, and it is about his experience on death row and also ultimately becoming free. And Krista, very early on in 2020, read this. This was one of the first books she read, and she was like, well, this is gonna be my favorite book of the year. She just loved it that much. So of course I had to get this immediately. So that's The Sun Does Shine by Anthony Ray Hinton. Then I've got 3 middle grade books. One of them I've already read. It's The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. Oh, sadly, I just noticed that. It's the cover is a little bit cut. That's unfortunate. Anyway, this is a World War II story about a little girl and her brother who live in London, I believe, with their very abusive, horrible mother. Now, our main character, Ada, is 10 years old. She has a clubfoot and she has been kept at home these many years. Her mother is embarrassed by her and won't let her leave the house. The war is on. London is, you know, people think it's going to be bombed, and it is going to be bombed. And so many children were sent to the countryside at that time, and she leaves along with her brother and goes and stays with a woman on the countryside. And it's about found family and, you know, blossoming when given the opportunity to blossom. It's so, so good. I loved every second of reading The War That Saved My Life, so I bought it. And then I also bought its sequel, which I'm eager to read. It's called The War I Finally Won. And I don't really know much about this other than, well, it obviously continues Ada's story. The war is still ongoing. So I think she's remains at this home with this woman. And I'm very eager. I really don't want to read the back because I don't want it to ruin anything. So there's that. And then the next one is a book that I believe it was Katie from Life Between Words that recommended this one. It's called Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth. This takes place in the 60s, 1968, and we follow 11-year-old Renee. Her mother has fairly recently passed away, and her whole family is struggling with it. She has decided to take up a paper route, and she's the new paper boy of the neighborhood, and she writes to all of the people that she's going to be delivering the paper to. She develops this pen pal relationship with the man in the neighborhood who's kind of a recluse. No one really talks to him. He doesn't really talk to anyone, and they develop this pen pal relationship. Her brother is meant to go to war. I think he's going to Vietnam, and she's really upset by it, and it's about them working it out together and becoming friends, and it's all told in letters, which is wonderful. She writes in like a kind of printed lettering, and then he writes back in typewriter form, and I'm so excited to read this. It just looks wonderful. And these are all books I'm starting to collect more middle grade because of Norah, and I want her to have, good books in her possession. So the final two, I left it to the end, are two books that were on my Amazon wish list, which I will link below, my Amazon wish list. But I found them both on Book Outlet for a steal, and so I thought, well, I have to just get them there. So I did, and the first one is As Bright as Heaven. This book is a book that I'm reading right now while I'm filming this. I don't know when this is going up. This is definitely not for everyone right now. This is about the Spanish flu in Philadelphia, where it was kind of the hub of the Spanish flu in America. So we meet a family in 1918 who moved to Philadelphia. We meet the parents and the three girls, the three daughters, and we follow the mom and the three daughters, and it kind of bounces back and forth in narration. And it's about them moving to Philadelphia and then the Spanish flu coming in and decimating Philadelphia. And it's about this family that adopt a little boy who I believe became orphaned because of the Spanish flu. And I know that this is not for everyone right now. I kind of like to read books that can in some way make sense of current circumstances. Obviously, the coronavirus is not the Spanish flu. What we're going through is not like that. But it has little things that can be compared, and so I thought, maybe this family will have something that I can cling on to and help me through all of this right now. So that's As Bright as Heaven. I am really enjoying the writing already. I'm really early on though. I'm only like 40 pages in, so early days. Early days. And then the next one is The Poison Thread by Laura Purcell. She wrote The Silent Companions, and I'm trying to remember what in the world this was called. the seamstress or something along those lines. In the UK, it has a different title than in America, Canada. But the Poison Thread has very much Affinity Vibes by Sarah Waters, and so of course I wanted to read it. We follow two women, Dorothea Truelove, who is young, wealthy, gorgeous, and then we also follow Ruth Butterham, who is young, poor, and also awaiting trial for murder. So this is about when Dorothea, maybe it's just Dorothy, it's probably just Dorothy. It follows Dorothy meeting Ruth at prison. She's doing charitable work and she meets Ruth there. She's very excited to go to this prison because she's fascinated with phrenology and she wants to test her hypothesis that the shape of a person's skull can cast a light on their darkest crimes. She meets this woman who's on trial for murder, and she has all sorts of questions about her. I think they have some sort of friendship. This is why this reminds me so much of Affinity. And Ruth basically says it's possible to kill with just a needle and thread. And Dorothy obviously doesn't know whether or not she can trust her. Sounds wonderful and gothic, and I really love Laura Purcell and the way that she writes. It just so is right up my alley. So those are all of the books that I got from Book Outlet. I'm gonna kind of hold back on my book buying. I do have to say I have one other haul that will be coming fairly soon. I'm thinking of posting that sooner than later. I was going to like split them up between like April and May, but I think I might just kind of shorten it all together. And that one has books that I had bought well before all of this went down, and then books from publishers as well. So, but this is my Book Outlet haul. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these. What did you think of them? Have you bought anything lately? Do you miss buying books? I don't know if you've felt like you can't buy books or you're not able to buy books right now. I hope you are doing well and you are in good spirits. Again, in the comments below, or in the description box below, I should say, I have my GOODREADS page that you can go and become a friend of mine there, my Instagram page, and also my Amazon wishlist. Please go and check all of those out, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys!